Making headlines this hour. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz reaffirms the essential and evolving role of writers in shaping the Maldives' religious, national, and socio-economic trajectory. Parliament begins the process of reviewing the 8 nominations interested in representing the public on the Judicial Service Commission. And recent tourism statistics from the Ministry of Tourism and Environment show the number of tourists visiting the Maldives daily has reached 5,000.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz reaffirms the essential and evolving role of writers in shaping the Maldives' religious, national, and socio-economic trajectory.
The President stated in an address on the occasion of National Writers' Day that the responsibilities entrusted to writers have increased many times over, extending into every facet of public life. His remarks, delivered in conjunction with the national observance, centered on writing as a catalyst for individual and collective progress. President Dr. Muiz described the written word and dissemination of knowledge across disciplines as instrumental in transforming citizens, communities, and the nation, and extending an influence to the broader world, framing it as a cornerstone of development. He underscored that this noble responsibility rests directly upon the shoulders of the country's writers. That message gained additional resonance on a day commemorating the launch of Al-Islah, the Maldives' first magazine originally envisioned as a vehicle for comprehensive national reform. President Muiz remarked that Divahi writing has expanded dramatically in scope since its inception, reflecting the rising significance of writers' religious and national obligations. He proceeded to detail the diverse arenas in which writers are expected to contribute. Religiously, he underscored their importance in reinforcing creed, etiquette, and ethics. In the social sphere, he stressed the need for integrity to nurture relationships and preserve harmony. On economic matters, he positioned writers as key facilitators in creating new opportunities and guiding youth toward productive roles in the labor market. Expanding his remarks into the political domain, President Muiz observed that modern governance is increasingly shaped by writing manifestos. He highlighted the critical function of writers in drafting such documents, interpreting them for the public, and communicating national issues with clarity and honesty. He further tasked writers with advancing the country's diplomatic presence, fostering ties with foreign states and international organizations, and safeguarding national interests on all fronts. Reflecting on the power and responsibility embedded in the written word, he asserted that nations are shaped by the ideas their writers articulate. President Muiz issued an earnest call for writers to devote their creative abilities and activate their pens in service of collective advancement. He voiced hope that their insights and aspirations would enrich national discourse, elevate the dignity of Maldivians, and help chart a path toward a more promising future.
Parliament begins the process of not reviewing the 8 nominations interested in representing the public on the Judicial Service Commission, or JSC.
According to the Maldives Constitution, the Parliament is mandated to appoint a member from the general public to the 10-member commission. The opportunity to apply for the position expires on the 3rd of July. The position was open to candidates who are 30 years of age or older and must not be convicted of a criminal offense prescribed in Islamic Sharia or of fraud or bribery, and must not be holding a political office elected or appointed under the Constitution or any law. In addition, applicants must not be a member of any political party or a person active in a political party. During the Parliament sitting on Tuesday, Speaker of Parliament Abdul Rahim Abdullah announced that as many as 8 candidates had applied for the position. The candidates include Ibrahim Zahid, Lilimage, Vadu Gaftal et al., Ahmad Ali, Hulumale, Flat 108G1, Ali Amir, M.A. Penzivilla, Idris Fauzi, Fahivage, Kalaidu, Lam et al., Ahmad Shafiu, Udares Ihavandu, Ha'alf et al., Dr. Hussein Faiz, Daftaru number RS 1325, Ahmad Shafiu, Udares Ihavandu, Alf et al., Dr. Hussein Faiz, Daftaru number RS 1325, Hassan Wahid, Rankokage, Kurimbi, Hadal et al., Ali Muhammad Manik, Daftaru number RS 1851. The Speaker has forwarded the 8 nominees to the Parliament Judiciary Committee for vetting. The term of office of a member of the Commission is 5 years and cannot be nominated for a second term. The Parliament is looking to replace the present public representative on JSC, whose term is set to expire. JSC is composed of the Speaker of Parliament, 3 judges which respectively represent the Supreme Court, High Court and lower courts, representatives from the Parliament and the public, as well as an appointee by the President.
Recent tourism statistics from the Ministry of Tourism and Environment show the number of tourists visiting the Maldives daily has reached 5,000.
The ministry's latest tourism statistics show that the globally renowned tourism destination has welcomed a total of 1,141,988 tourists so far this year, an increase of 9.2% compared to the 1,045,337 tourists during the same period last year. During the first week of July, 33,858 tourists arrived in the Maldives, registering a 13.6% increase from the 29,808 recorded during the same period last year. The sustained surge in arrivals have taken the daily tourist arrival average to over 5,000 so far this year, the statistics showed. The average daily tourist arrivals per month are January 6,931 tourists, February 7,646 tourists, March 6,563 tourists, April 6,611 tourists, May 4,375 tourists, June 4,726 tourists, so far in July 5,643 tourists. The top 3 source markets are China with 148,951 tourists, Russia 131,480 tourists, and the United Kingdom with 110,935 tourists. According to the statistics, the majority of tourists had preferred to spend their holiday in tourist resorts with 72.5%, followed by guest houses with 22.5% and just 2.8% in tourist hotels. To meet this year's target of 2.3 million arrivals, the government is banking on infrastructure improvements to accelerate growth with the opening of the new passenger terminal at Vilhena International Airport or VIA, slated for the 26th of July, expected to expand capacity and streamline operations, strengthening the sector's ability to absorb rising demand.
Maldives officially celebrates the completion of the Maafaru International Airport upgrade project with the arrival of inaugural wide-body aircraft. National Airline Maldivians' newly acquired wide-body aircraft received a water salute upon landing at the airport.
The ceremony to celebrate the opening of the airport was attended by the Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Mohammed Saeed, the Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, the UAE Ambassador to Maldives, Sheikh Rahma bin Abdul Rahman Al Shamsi, Director General of the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development or ADFD, Mohammed Saif Al Suwaidi, and Island Aviation Services Limited or IAS Managing Director Ibrahim Iyas. The two-pronged Maafaru International Airport was funded by the United Arab Emirates through the ADFD. Under the first phase, a 2,200-meter runway, passenger terminal building, and VIP lounge have been developed, along with a fire and rescue station, control tower, and passenger jetty. Construction of the Maafaru Airport started on the 23rd of January 2018. The first phase of the airport was completed and commercial flight operations began on the 1st of December 2019. The second phase of the project saw the runway extended by 650 meters to accommodate Boeing 777 ER-300 aircrafts. In addition, shore protection and upgrading of the runway lights were carried out under Phase 2. The entire airport project, including the second phase, was completed in December last year. The Abu Dhabi Fund has provided more than $76 million for the 2 phases of the project. Maafaru International Airport is operated by IAS, which has plans to expand the passenger terminal services, establish a seaplane hub, increase fuel farm capacity, and launch direct passenger flight operations. Nuno Atoll, where the airport is located, boasts the highest number of high-end resorts in the Maldives. There are as many as 8 resorts and 14 guest houses currently in operation in the atoll. The development of Maafaru International Airport is tipped to strengthen Maldives' tourism sector and create new economic opportunities for its people.
Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Mohammed Saeed, describes the upgrade of Maafaru International Airport as a major step forward for the country's economy of the Maldives. Speaking during the ceremony held on Tuesday to celebrate the official completion of the Maafaru International Airport project, Minister Saeed said Nuno Atoll is renowned for its tourism with 2,500 beds currently in operation, including high-end resorts.
He said the development of the airport to international standards will come as a major relief for the resorts, guest houses, and economic activities in the atoll, which in turn will also provide a great boost for the economy of the country. The minister pointed out that the Maldives' economy was in an extremely difficult position when President Dr. Muiz took office in November 2023, adding that the president exercised patience and wisdom while working closely with both local and foreign industry partners to navigate a way out of the economic challenges. Under the first phase, a 2,200-meter runway, passenger terminal building, and VIP lounge have been developed along with a fire and rescue station, control tower, and passenger jetty. Construction of the Mafaro Airport began on the 23rd of January 2018, with the first phase of the airport completed and commercial flight operations launched on the 1st of December 2019. The second phase of the project saw the runway extended by 650 meters to accommodate Boeing 777ER-300 aircrafts, along with shore protection and upgrading of the runway lights. The entire airport project, including the second phase, was completed in December last year, with the Abu Dhabi Fund having provided more than $76 million for the two phases of the project.
Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib says foreign direct investments or FDI in the Maldives should create jobs and business opportunities for the youth. Speaking during the ceremony to celebrate the official completion of the Mafaro International Airport, Minister Muttalib said the policy of the government of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz is to improve the quality of life of the people through development. Foreign direct investments, according to the minister, must not only be a way to raise tax money for the state, but also create job opportunities for the youth. Highlighting the significance of the Mafaro Airport project, he said the airport would open up more economic and development opportunities for the people of the entire Noon Atoll. The minister also insisted that the people should not be bystanders in such development projects and instead must be partners to the development of the country. He also urged the people of Noon Atoll to work with resort developers and investors to create more economic opportunities and increase employment and business opportunities. Highlighting the millions of dollars worth of investments already in Noon Atoll, Minister Muttalib hailed the potential the atoll holds for more development and growth in the future. He also insisted that the aim must be to ensure that every citizen personally benefits from the development of the atoll. Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources Ahmad Shiam reveals that the government is gearing up to open the development of sports fishing harbors in 5 regions across the Maldives. Speaking during a workshop targeted for individuals involved in sports and recreational fishing, Minister Shiam said the development of sports fishing is an important part of the government's efforts to diversify the fisheries sector, adding that sports fishing harbors are integral to the plan. Sports has become increasingly popular among Maldivian youth. In response, the government has identified 5 locations for the development of sports fishing ports. The ports will feature facilities such as fish stalls, administrative offices for organizing competitions, restaurants and cafes, fishing gear shops, and barbecue facilities. According to the minister, the 5 locations to establish sports fishing harbors have already been identified, and that the administrative process to open the project to investors is currently underway. Minister Shiam also expressed confidence that the development of these harbors, equipped specifically for sports fishing, including the necessary equipment, will significantly boost tourist arrivals and benefit the economy. Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works Adam Sharif Umar says publicizing various inquiries into local councils will lead to stronger accountability and transparency. In a post shared on social media, Minister Adam Sharif said he had asked the Local Government Authority or LGA to make the summary of its inquiries into local councils public. Offering more insight into the directive with PSM News, the minister said making such inquiry reports public and disclosing as much information as possible is one of the characteristics of good governance, adding that it will also lead to more accountability of local councils and encourage the LGA to follow the required protocols to conduct such inquiries. The LGA conducts an inquiry into complaints over a council based on the decision of the authority's board. A total of 120 complaints were submitted to the LGA by the public regarding the council and councillors last year. One of the more high-profile inquiries in recent times has been the inquiry of the Tinadu City Council, which led to the suspension of both the mayor and deputy mayor of the city. Top stories in business. The executive director of the United Nations Trade Agency says the Trump administration's decision to extend a negotiating deadline for tariff rates is prolonging uncertainty and instability for countries.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday, July 7th, ramped up his trade war, telling 14 nations from powerhouse suppliers such as Japan and South Korea to minor trade players that they can now face sharply higher tariffs from a new deadline of August 1st. Pamela Cook-Hamilton, executive director of the International Trade Center, told reporters in Geneva that the move actually extends the period of uncertainty, undermining long-term investment and business contracts and creating further uncertainty and instability. She added that the uncertainty combined with deep cuts in development aid has created a dual shock for developing countries.
Adding to the uncertainty created by the tariffs and related trade measures, we're simultaneously seeing deep cuts in development aid, creating a dual shock for developing countries in the world of trade and aid. G7 countries, which together account for around 3/4 of all official development assistance, are set to slash their aid spending by 28% next year, compared to 2024 levels. This would be the biggest cut in aid since the G7 was established 50 years ago. And this is from Oxfam. In short, in today's context, a perfect storm is brewing. Just as trade becomes more unpredictable, external support through aid is also shrinking.
Countries have been under pressure to conclude deals with the U.S. after Trump unleashed a global trade war in April that roiled financial markets and sent policymakers scrambling to protect their economies.
Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba says that Japan would continue negotiations with the United States to seek a bilateral trade deal that benefits both countries.
Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said in a meeting with cabinet ministers that Japan has received a proposal from the United States to continue trade discussions until the newly set August 1st deadline. The meeting held with the cabinet ministers were to discuss on how to deal with the U.S. tariffs. Ishiba said Japan and the U.S. had so far failed to reach a deal as a result of his country's unwillingness to give up easy concessions during negotiations. He added that the tariff announcement was deeply regrettable. This comes after the U.S. President Donald Trump stated that letters detailing U.S. plans for tariffs will be sent out to 12 countries on the 7th of July. Donald Trump's previous decision on a 90-day tariff pause is set to end tomorrow, 9th of July.
Updates on world news. Casualties were brought to Al-Shifa Hospital following an Israeli strike on Gaza City that led to deaths and injuries. This comes as Gaza ceasefire efforts have been recently revived.
Trump and Netanyahu met for several hours in Washington while Israeli officials continued indirect negotiations with Hamas aimed at securing a U.S.-brokered Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Israel has regularly claimed it takes steps to avoid hitting civilians. Israel says it is seeking to eliminate Hamas, which attacked southern Israel from Gaza in 2023, and free hostages still held by the group. Israel started the Gaza genocide when Hamas attacked southern Israel in October 2023, killing around 1,200 people and taking 251 hostages according to Israeli tallies. Some 50 hostages remain in Gaza, with 20 believed to be still alive. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed over 57,000 Palestinians. Most of Gaza's population have been displaced and nearly 500,000 people are facing famine within months, according to the United Nations estimates.
Nianda Wei Deng steps forward quietly in a long queue of exhausted women and children as aid workers handed out high-energy biscuits in the remote border town of Muon in the Gambela region of Ethiopia.
For Niandao and her family, this emergency food aid is now the only way they can feed themselves after fleeing conflict in South Sudan that forced them to abandon their home, farm, and any means of survival. The young mother spoke softly but firmly, recounting the desperation of having to gather firewood to sell along the way, her children falling ill and nearly suffering a miscarriage from exhaustion and hunger. Niandao is one of an estimated 50,000 South Sudanese asylum seekers who have crossed into Ethiopia's Gambela region, fleeing fresh violence in Upper Nile State. International organizations like the World Food Program or WFP are racing to meet their needs, distributing high-energy biscuits and screening vulnerable groups for malnutrition. Kudzai Mazomba, WFP's head of field office in Gambela, said, quote, WFP is planning on providing a regular monthly food ration or monthly food items so that they can be able to meet their food needs, end of quote.
Now taking a look at sports, Real Madrid trains at their base in Palm Beach Gardens as they continued preparations to face Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup semi-finals.
Xabi Alonso's team edged past Borussia Dortmund 3-2 in a quarter-final on July 5th to set up a last-four clash with PSG, which will be the first time Kylian Mbappe faces his former club since moving to the Bernabeu last summer. PSG, who won their first Champions League title in May to secure a historic treble, beat Bayern Munich to reach the semi-finals. Real Madrid faced PSG at the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey on July 9th. The winners of the clash will face Fluminense or Chelsea, who meet on Tuesday, July 8th in the final. The MetLife Stadium will also host the final on July 13th.
Top seed Yannick Sinner struggles with an elbow problem and was given a scare before advancing to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon after a cruel twist of fate for his 19th seeded opponent, Grigor Dimitrov, who retired injured at 2 setups.
Novak Djokovic continued his quest for Grand Slam glory at the All-England club with a battling victory over Alex de Minaur, while five-time major champion Iga Swiatek found her grass court wings to fly past Clara Tauson. The drama was reserved for the evening clash on center court as Dimitrov, who had pulled out injured in his last four majors, played exquisite tennis to go up 6-3, 7-5 and 2-2, but then crashed to ground after a big ace to hold serve. Sinner, who had been hampered for much of the contest by a right elbow issue after slipping and falling to the turf early on, was left feeling sorry for his opponent, who threw in the towel after a short assessment by a doctor. Sinner next faces American 10th seed Ben Shelton, who beat another Italian in Lorenzo Sonego to advance to the quarterfinals at Wimbledon for the first time, as did Flavio Cobolli, who downed Marin Cilic. Djokovic marched into the Wimbledon last 8 for the 16th time, but the Serbian trod a rocky road before defeating de Minaur to keep alive his quest for a 25th major title to surpass Margaret Court. Watched from the royal box by another great in Roger Federer, the man whose record 8 All-England club trophies Djokovic is trying to equal, the 6th seed surrendered the first set in 31 minutes before roaring back to win. Federer's fellow Swiss and former doubles partner Belinda Bencic made her first Wimbledon quarterfinal in 9 attempts after dismissing 18th-seeded Russian Ekaterina Alexandrova in a little under 2 hours on a breezy court 1. The 28-year-old Tokyo 2020 Olympic champion shed tears of joy after she finally broke the 4th round barrier 15 months since giving birth to her daughter Bella, and she said she was surprised at her high level. She will need all her battling qualities when she takes on 7th seed Mira Andreeva, the Russian teenager who made short work of American 10th seed Emma Navarro on her center court debut with her idol Federer still in attendance. Swiatek shrugged off a slow start to beat Danish 23rd seed Tauson and set up a meeting with Lyudmila Samsonova, who saw off Jessica Bowes' Manero.
If this is the end.
Now moving on to robotics. Robotics researchers at Stanford University are developing a new way to explore the world's oceans, a remote-controlled humanoid robot that can transmit the sense of touch to researchers sitting vast distances away.
Osama Khatib, director of the Stanford Robotics Center, said Ocean One is a unique kind of underwater robot that actually lets a human reach beyond where human divers can go. Named Ocean 1K, the robot is an advanced version of Ocean One, which in 2016 dove 100 meters in the Mediterranean to explore a shipwreck from 1664. 1K reflects its ability to dive 1,000 meters.
Ocean One is a unique kind of underwater robots that actually lets a human reach beyond where human divers can go. Human divers can go to 60 meters. This robot can go to 1,000 meters. But still, this robot is going to connect a human sitting on the boat, interface to the robot through a haptic device to feel what the robot is touching when the robot is deep in the water.
In 2022, Ocean 1K conducted several missions below the Mediterranean where it explored several sunken craft, including 2 airplanes, a ship, and a submarine from World War II, and a Roman shipwreck dating back to 200 AD. That mission maxed out at 852 meters deep, where the robot was able to place a commemorative plaque on the seafloor before bringing it back to the surface.
What is unique about this robot is its ability to actually do things. So this robot has hands that are very gentle actually. We recover treasures from shipwrecks lost 2,000 years ago. We brought beautiful oil lamps, we brought beautiful cups, and without breaking them in one piece, the archaeologists were amazed. At the same time, we were able to take samples for marine biologists that are so deep that no human can go and bring, and no machines today can approach, because the problem with most of the machines, they don't have the way to interact. They don't have the arms, the hands, and this is what is unique about this machine.
Ocean 1K connects to a boat on the surface of the water, which has the potential to then connect to the internet and allow remote users to control it. Users feel what the robot touches using a haptic interface.
And that's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ail from PSM News.